Ladies and gentlemen, dear Andreas, two groundbreaking and exciting days come to an end. And as Vice President of the Transport and Tourism Committee in the European Parliament and big supporter of those technologies that you see here and that were in the focus of the last 2 days, I am very pleased to offer you the final words. I'm welcoming the publication of the Drone Strategy 2.0, and I would like to share my views on how to make Europe the forerunner and standard setter in the European drone market. Unmanned drones are already being used today as everyday tools in an ever-widening range of data-intensive needs. They were used in many economic sectors such as agriculture, construction, surveillance, film production, healthcare, medical, emergency, energy, environment, public safety, and security. In the future, drone service market complements first innovative aerial services, meaning aerial operations, and innovative air mobility that covers international, regional, and urban air mobility and use space. My daughters are 7 and 11 years old today, and if we do it right together, when they will be in university, they will be able to order their school books by drone. This will be normal. And later, they will use public transport provided by a first manned eVTOL, like we see them here, that brings them from the airport to the city center, for example, within the concept of an air taxi. It will be natural for this generation to use aerial vehicles, and we will understand them as part of everyday life. This is groundbreaking, ladies and gentlemen. The prerequisites for this must be created. I think we can all agree that it takes full steam ahead and full efforts from all stakeholders to fill the suspended vision of the strategy with life, to make Europe that smart and sustainable unmanned aircraft ecosystem it is deserved to be. The member states and the respective regulators must implement the use-based regulation while creating structures for USSPs and CISPs that encourage competition and reward innovation. A fragmentation of the system in the member states is to be avoided, and in the case of competition law issues, these must be solved properly and in an uncomplicated manner. Therefore, I highly welcome the implementation of EU drone rules in Switzerland, for example, by the 1st of January 2023. Nevertheless, the member states will need support by implementing use-based and IM by authorities, cities, industry, and stakeholders. The European Commission, as the publisher of the drone strategy, is responsible for ensuring that the goals it has set itself are actually met. The 19 flagship initiatives are a good approach that needs constant revision and adjustment. It is a fact that only then a viable drone ecosystem will contribute to leverage European research and innovation and entrepreneurship to achieve the objectives of the European Green Deal and Digital Europe as set out in a new growth strategy for Europe. Moving from demonstrations to large-scale commercial operations that present a business case must be the way forward. Appropriate financial resources should be provided by both the public and private sectors in line with the smart and sustainable mobility strategy, the action plan on synergies between civil defense and space industry, and strategies on EU security. The EU Parliament, which I represent, shall represent the European citizens. From my understanding, its role consists in particular in dialogue with citizens to acquire the advantages of the technology, to remove obstacles and concerns such as security and safety, and to pay attention to the regulatory framework in the legislative process. I'm very proud that the European Parliament participated in the EU Drone Days with a public hearing in the Transport Committee yesterday. The members of the European Parliament, representatives of the German Aerospace Center in Eyre, researchers from the University of Ghent and the manufacturer Leonardo discussed the requirements for a safe, efficient drone ecosystem in the European Union. The debate illustrated the high relevance of the participation of the European Parliament and that citizens must support the new, partly disruptive technology. Public expectations are high, and a sense of security is key in getting people to use drone services. The full automation of the car and the control of the journey via artificial intelligence is comparable to these developments. The users are gradually introduced to new solutions of this technology, and they will learn how they help to fulfill their desires and needs in everyday life. Reliable applications such as drone food delivery in rural areas or traffic accident reconnaissance drones do have a business case. There is added value for users, and the market will be able to expand. Citizens need to be able to see and to experience drones and aerial vehicles in action, developing a feeling for them. Demonstrations and dialogue are beneficial, and authorities should be supported in setting up and implementing new mobility concepts that include drones and air mobility services. But safety is the #1 priority in aviation, and nothing will change this. The SESAR study on the acceptance of urban air mobility has been important to obtain information about this new market from the point of view of the general public. This can now be considered when designing the rules. Given the competitive pressure from the USA and China, speed should not take precedence over safety. Otherwise, people's trust in the new aviation technology will be lost. But to be honest, I don't really see this risk, because the safety culture in European aviation is so high and so strong and present everywhere. When you discuss with the people here in rooms at the different point of views, safety is never an issue. So I see the task for the European Parliament and for me personally to find ways to create this trust for the general public. At this point, from my point of view, the strategy falls a little short, and for example, the voluntary European Trusted Drone label could contribute to the sense of security, similar to a well-known seal of quality. As we learned from the SESAR study, the drone ecosystem must have a safety level equivalent to that of current aviation operations for passengers and for people on the ground. Furthermore, access to drone operations must be made easier. Training measures and courses for remote pilots and pilots of VTOL aircraft would help here. Lengthy and bureaucratic licensing procedures to conduct drone operations would neither increase service acceptance nor the frequency we need in order to create a business case. With the help of standard aerial operations, common rules could be defined that can be handled unbureaucratically. With the right framework in place, the drone service market in Europe could reach a value of 14.5 billion euros by 2030, with a compound annual growth rate of 12%, and create 150,000 jobs in the European Union. We should not forget this. An extremely important factor that should never be underestimated is research and development and the appropriate funding of it. Drone technologies and their use cases are developing rapidly. New products are being added onto the market with increasing speed. To stay safe, the European drone industry needs to meet the fast-moving development and production cycles. Standardization and interoperability of simple technological building blocks are key factors for faster product development. An example of success is SESAR 3 joint undertaking. The institutionalized European partnership between private and public sector partners brings top industry stakeholders together. I highly welcome the objective to accelerate the delivery of the single European sky throughout research and innovation. The applications shown here before, the impressive demonstrations today, and the outstanding work speak for their continuation. With drones and U-Space being one flagship initiative of SESAR 3, I'm very happy that on the 24th of November, 5 new digital sky demonstrators officially kicked off. With combined funding of 45 million euro from the Connecting Europe facilities between now and 2025, the selected projects aim to accelerate the market uptake of SESAR solutions for greener aviation and urban air mobility. I hope all of you had the chance to experience and visit the exhibitors these days, such as Birdie, for example, which we saw earlier. I believe there's no doubt that the benefits of funding for research and innovation on drones and the integration into the airspace on the Horizon Europe program and other eligible funds from the EU budget are not at stake. Innovation is the dynamic element of production and growth, and innovation is a driver of social change. Without innovation, the further development of big companies and SMEs and entrepreneurship are hindered. In addition to the visionary character of the Drone Strategy 2.0, there are already concrete possibilities in ongoing legislative processes to create legal certainty and so planning certainty for the sector. While the regulatory framework for the safe development of drone operations in the EU and for U-Space is largely in place, a key element for the development of a competitive market for drone services is pricing. Common information services are needed to enable safe air traffic management of drones. The ongoing reform of Single European Sky, you may know them as SES2+, aims to establish SIS to contain the cost of traffic management of drones and ensure a level playing field in the access to and pricing of necessary data. At the same time, a high level of cost transparency in order to avoid discrimination, cross-subsidization, and distortion of competition needs to be maintained. For me, the affordability of U-Space services is key, and therefore I call to the Member States to abandon their deadlock in the European Council and to return constructively to the negotiation table of SES2+. In addition, other legislative processes are currently underway that are linked to the topic. The revision of the TEN-T regulation supports the development of a reliable and seamless trans-European transport network that offers sustainable connectivity across the European Union without physical gaps, bottlenecks, or missing links. I do support an amendment by the European Parliament to create appropriate conditions for promoting and deploying emerging technologies like passenger and freight drones in order to safeguard Union's leadership on those technologies and encourage private and public investments in the infrastructure needed for new modes of mobility like urban last-mile drone operations. I feel the conviction and enthusiasm of everyone present on site. The EU Drone Days were only the starting points, bringing all stakeholders together and celebrating the launch of the coordinated implementation of the Drone Outlook Study 2.0 and the existing legislation. We need to bundle all forces to fill this vision with life. The European Parliament and I will drive the European Commission and measure it by their actions. I promise I never will tire of reminding that Europe must remain a pioneer and trendsetter in the international drone market, being the first mover of the world. I thank you all for having been here, and I wish you all a good conclusion of this event. Thanks a lot.